Welcome, friends, it's the MovieFilm Podcast. MovieFilm Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about the movies. MovieFilm Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to MovieFilm. This is episode 225. My name is Zachy Hassan. I'm here with Brian Hall.
Hey, how's it going, Zachy?
It's going well. This show is brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions, and this is our, I don't know, we've been talking a lot lately because we've been recording our commentaries, but it feels like we haven't done a regular show in a bit, right?
Yeah, where we just kick back and chit-chat, and it is funny. I mean, we've banked a couple commentaries, a little peek behind the curtain, and it is funny because we are sort of focusing on something while we're talking to one another. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of a nice moment to just kick back and just chit-chat with whatever little news bites and whatnot are in front of us.
It's interesting. I enjoy both, doing both types.
Same.
Right? But there is like a different type of energy involved.
Yeah, I feel like with the commentaries, I also have a lot of notes. So I'm sort of keeping tabs on things and trying to make sure I check off things that I want to mention and whatnot. And I like I do enjoy that because usually we're talking about a movie we have a lot of thoughts on, which is kind of fun. But this is kind of nice being like off the cuff and yeah.
Well, with that in mind, Brian, go ahead. Go off the cuff.
Well, off the cuff, let's go to our usual opening segment. No. What's funny with what I've been watching recently is I haven't really been checking out a lot of new things. I've kind of been going to the past. And on HBO Max, I saw that they had Beverly Hills Cop. And while from the 80s, I'm super familiar with Lethal Weapon and the Die Hards and all those sorts of things. But I'm not totally versed in the whole Beverly Hills Cop thing. I think I've seen 2 a couple times, maybe 1 once. I'd never seen 3.
I'm kind of with you. I've seen all of them but the one time, I think.
Yeah. So I was like, well, that'll be sort of like seeing it again for the first time. And so weirdly, I didn't plan on doing the trilogy, which I did, but I watched 3 first.
Okay.
Because that was the one I hadn't seen. And I knew it's like if you mention it to anyone who's seen it, you usually get, ugh. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, well, it's not going to be good, but it's Eddie Murphy. I've never seen it. Axel Foley, like, let's do it. And I can see why people who are fans of the first 2 could have that reaction. But taking a step back all these years later, just seeing like kind of a lo-fi action film. And when I say lo-fi, it's not like there's some nuclear weapon or, some sort of crazy thing. It's about counterfeiting,
And a theme park.
And most of it takes place at a Six Flags Great America-esque theme park. I was like, I don't know. I had a good time. Like it's what am I trying to say? Like low stakes, not in the movie, but just if you want to just see Axel Foley riffing again and wandering around and shooting at bad guys. And I mean, you could certainly do worse. And so starting with that one, I was like, well, I didn't mind that. That was like a nice little 90-minute diversion. And George Lucas makes a cameo in it, which is very, very random. Did you know that?
Because John Landis directed it, right?
Right. Yes.
So isn't he? He's buddies with Lucas, isn't he?
That makes sense. John Landis is such a weird,
controversial figure, right?
Yeah, but also like I just have so many different things in my head about him because it's he did Blues Brothers and all these sorts of things. But then obviously there was the Twilight Zone awfulness and kind of went away.
He spawned Max Landis, which I wouldn't be proud of that either.
But then he did Coming to America, and apparently he and Eddie Murphy famously did not get along on that film. But then he directed Eddie Murphy here again in 3. So there's almost like 5 versions of John Landis in my head. Was Trading Places, right? Like the one trait, by the way, of John Landis that I really love is when he has his actors look straight into the camera.
Oh, sure.
I like probably my favorite one of all time is in Trading Places when the one guy's explaining to Eddie Murphy a BLT sandwich, and Eddie Murphy just looks into the camera like, "Can you believe this?" And it just cuts. You don't even see him go back. It just hard cuts back to the guy who was talking, as if like, "Wait, did that just happen?" absolutely cracks me up every
You know,
time.
what occurs to me as I'm talking to you, and this is just how my brain works, it'd be funny if there are, in fact, 5 versions of John Landis, like the movie Multiplicity.
Right. And one is like awful and doesn't listen to his ADs. And one is like actually a really talented comedic director. Like one made Thriller, you know, like
All this time, we just never knew, you know?
yeah. But yeah, I mean, again, I can see in comparison, if you're a huge fan of the series, why that might feel a little less than to you, and maybe a little sillier too. He's walking around in the movie wearing, you know, a big elephant costume to fit in the park. It's played for laughs, but I don't know. I went in not really expecting a lot, and I was like, well, I didn't. That was perfect for what I was looking for on like a Tuesday night.
The upside, Brian, is you start with 3. You got nowhere to go but up.
That's true. That's true. Right? So then that's exactly what I did. I went to 1. And
Martin Brest.
Martin Brest. And you know what? I was like, wait, is this a Landis movie too? But no, yeah, Martin Brest.
And didn't Tony Scott do the second one?
Correct. And oh my gosh, so Tony Scott, that movie. It's like, but I of course I enjoyed those as well. And it's really fun seeing like a movie where it's like, it really is just about a guy in the street, you know, fending off street toughs with his wits and a couple bullets and, you know, jumping onto trucks and, like I say, like lo-fi compared to what we sort of get now. So yeah, it was really fun, and watching him being like a wise ass to everybody, and you know, and winning everyone over to him, like the sort of buckled down Beverly Hills Police, and how they become these buddies that by the second movie they're like, "Hey, I love you, man." You know, and you like really believe it, and you're like, "I love that these unlikely people are actually bonding and getting along and working together." It's a fun series. It's still very 80s.
Yeah.
But you know what was fun too was seeing the family car that we had.
Oh.
The chief of police gets into this car and is like, "Whoa, that was the car we had." So I took a picture and sent it to my dad, and he's like, "What are you watching?" And then there's a random DeLorean parked on a street in one scene, just because those were on the street at one point, you know. Like
that's funny.
But yeah, that was a fun sort of throwback, and those are all on HBO Max. And then in a really, really obscure throwback. So, I got to tell a little story here. So, having just moved, I have like a ton, I'm sure you and I both, but you've already done this, I think. I have a ton of DVDs and Blu-rays, and a lot of them, it was very cool. When I worked at a studio, I'd get a lot of them for free, and there's still sort of like a novelty to it. Even if it's a movie you don't really care about, you're like, yeah, but it reminds me of working at the place, and I got it for free, and that was kind of cool. But at some point when you're trying to clear shelves, you're like, okay, some of this stuff is worth hanging on to, like the Indiana Jones series and things like that. But some of these just gotta go. So yeah. I went to a used record store sort of place, you know, where they have CDs, DVDs, records and stuff. And so I went in there, and they even said like, "Hey, we just got to warn you, like we do not pay a lot for DVDs." And I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever." So I go to the back of the store, and then he yells out at me, and he goes, put all the good ones on top, huh? Nice trick. And I was like, because I didn't even realize it, to be honest. But I put like Back to the Future, the Alien quadrilogy, like all the stuff on the top. Probably because those were the hardest ones for me to let go of, you know. Like,
all right.
But I was like, oh yeah. So eventually he calls me over, and I'm thinking like, and you feel like kind of a dork too. You're coming in with these unwieldy bags of like DVDs, and like, "Please, sir, may I have $7, you know, for all of this?"
Right.
And so he calls me up to the front, and he's like, "Yo, DVD man." So I go up there, and he goes, "I'll give you $60 cash or $90 store credit." I was like, "What?"
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, "Dude, store credit, let's do it." And so I was like, what else do I have that I can take to a store like this? But anyway, that's a whole little side story. But yeah, those, remember that old Chicagoland commercial? That old car is worth money.
Was it Solozzi Edelson?
Yeah, right? Or no, was that Victory Auto Wreckers?
Victory Auto Wreckers.
That old car is worth money. So it's like those old dusty DVDs you were almost about to put in the trash are worth money. But that was really satisfying.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever randomly done the Think Young, Rodney D. Young? Have you ever done that?
You know what? No, I do other things like that, but you saying that completely has resurfaced a memory. I think, what's the one I do all the time? The 773-202.
Luna.
Or is that not local? I don't know.
No, that was Luna, I think.
Luna, yeah.
Right?
And then the Sizzler, mouth-watering.
No, yeah, another one was call public insurance. It's no problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, of course, Loki and Edelson, where you always save more money.
Well, here's another. This is like a random thing. I get mad when non-Midwest people do the
Empire?
the Empire carpet. Yes, because I'm like, that's ours.
That started with us, right?
That is for sure Chicago. It started with Chicago.
Okay.
So when non-Chicago people do that, I get weirdly angry about it.
I get, like, sort of territorial.
Yes.
I have those same feelings. Because at the beginning of Wayne's World, remember that's one of the commercials, and I feel like they were doing that to designate they're watching Chicago television.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. And, like, Eagle Man, of course. Someone even gave me an Eagle Man t-shirt once.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like a picture of his face and it says, "I've got something for you." It's like, so bad.
Remember there's the one commercial, the Eagle Man commercial with Man Cow in it?
Oh, yeah. Man Cow. Oh, my God.
Talk about, there's like a stick pin in time and place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway.
Enough about local Chicagoland commercials.
Yeah, I know. Everybody listening has theirs also, for wherever they grew up.
I think people have just deleted this show from their subscriptions in the last 2 minutes.
Right. I will say, though, being out here in Los Angeles, whenever I meet someone, one of my bosses at one job, he was from Lombard or something. And I think I went like, Solozzi and Edelson, da-da-da-da-da. And then we can where you'll always save more money. Whenever I meet a Chicagoland person, we do bond over those local commercials.
So weird.
That's like the secret handshake where we're like, and then we hug each other kind of a thing.
That's so funny. Yeah, my kids know the old Lincoln Park Zoo commercial.
That's a banger.
Right?
That's a good song. The Lincoln Park Zoo. Look up the Lincoln Park Zoo animals singing. It's like a doo-wop song.
Yeah, go to YouTube. Lincoln Park Zoo. I'm going to say 1989.
Something, yeah. And I kid you, you will be singing that the rest of the week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a world of fun, and it's
just brand new. Yeah. Come see us, and we'll see you. You know what? I'm calling it now. I'm going to close the episode with that. Everyone needs to hear
you have to.
That's what we're doing.
Anyway, go on.
So going back to the DVDs, there were a couple that I definitely knew I wasn't going to really want, but they were movies I was very curious about. And so when I worked at New Regency Productions, if you had been there a year, they would literally give you a Puma duffel bag, because they had a partnership with Puma, filled with every movie they had made. And there's a lot of good stuff in there. I mean, it was Once Upon a Time in America and Fight Club, and but then there are also some obscure movies. And one of those that I was I just have to know was Memoirs of an Invisible Man, starring Chevy Chase.
John Carpenter's
Memoirs of an Invisible Man, starring Chevy Chase. And I was I remembered the ads from when I was a kid, and even thinking then, that looks kind of cool.
Tell me that doesn't sound like a Mad Lib.
It absolutely, yeah. Michael McKean is in it, who I love, by the way. But
Daryl Hannah, right?
Daryl Hannah, yeah. It's Sam Neill is in it, and he is, he is the secret weapon of that movie, because he's playing this real hammy, slimy villain guy, and he is kicking ass at it. He is so good in this movie. But unfortunately, the movie itself, it looks like that look we love, almost Die Hard-esque, where there's just tons of lens flares and a real on-the-ground late 80s, early 90s cinematic, Jan de Bonte looking sort of cinematography. However, and Chevy Chase is definitely trying to be no, this is I crack a couple jokes, but no, this is
more dramatic.
Yeah, this is I want to try to do something different. And I read that it was just a battle getting this movie made, because Chevy Chase was determined to have a specific tone, and everyone was fighting him on the tone. And
so everyone wanted a more a Fletch type.
Yeah. And I guess William Goldman turned in a script that was a little bit more comedic, and he's no, I don't want the comedy of this. I want to the man, it's a metaphor, a man who is invisible. He had no friends. Did he ever exist anyway, kind of a thing. Which I have to admit, when they did that in the film, I was like, oh, well, that's an interesting angle. But it's such a shame. It feels very thin. It really just becomes a man on the run movie, but without a lot of meat on the bones, and you can kind of feel it. But it does have what I'm sure at the time were really groundbreaking visual effects, and some of it still looks really awesome. There's a part where he's jogging on the beach, and it's like a t-shirt and shorts and a headband, but no body, and that still looks really great. But it's also marred a little bit, but there's like actual blackface in it.
Okay.
When he's trying to hide as like a taxi driver kind of a thing, and you're just like, it's like out of nowhere, and you're like, whoa, what is this? But I can't say I recommend it unless you're the type of viewer who likes looking at old movies, and I mean that literally. Like when you like watching a movie you haven't seen, but you're sort of drinking in the visuals. I think the visuals are worth drinking in, but the movie itself, there's just not a lot there, which is ironic as I wrap up my summary of Memoirs on an Invisible Man.
Now, so I have not seen it, but this is one of those movies that's sort of cemented in my experience because it came out in February of '92, which was very, very shortly before my family moved back to the States.
Okay.
So it was sort of in all the advertising and stuff, like watch this on HBO type stuff,
Yeah.
It was very recent. But here's my question. Would a Fletch-esque tone have been more successful, you think?
I don't know, because I don't know why audiences at the time rejected it. But I don't think a little more comedy would have hurt it. But but when he was doing the sort of, or it's more like brown face, I guess, what he's doing with the thing that feels almost Fletch-esque, and it felt really out of place.
Okay.
Setting aside even how inappropriate it is, it just felt like weird that this character who's very normal otherwise would like dress up like another like it just. I don't know. I feel like if the movie had a bit more substance, it teases at it. Again, like a man who really didn't have any real friends and was kind of invisible to begin with. And then he meets this woman, Daryl Hannah. And then once he turns invisible, he's sort of heartbroken because now he doesn't have the chance to ever be seen. I was like, that's pretty rich, actually, for an Invisible Man movie. But it really feels like almost the outline you would write before you filled it in. So it's like, oh, this, and then he gets kind of pursued again, and then he runs, and then he sees the girl, and she loves him for reasons that aren't quite clear because they don't really know each other, but we need to do this, and then he needs to run again. And so, like I say, like the visuals of it and the direction was a pleasure to look at, but there's not a lot to connect with, I guess.
That makes sense.
But even, I guess, when I say Chevy Chase and John Carpenter did not get along. John Carpenter didn't get along with Daryl Hannah. He said it was like working.
Brian, can't you pretty much say Chevy Chase and fill in the blank did not get along?
Yeah, which is such a shame. I mean, he's such a likable screen presence. It's like the I don't know, like the curse of Chevy Chase, where it's like
I view Chevy Chase, Brian, as a living example of you burn enough bridges, and at some point nobody's going to feel like throwing you a rope.
Exactly. I just think of all the things he could have done, or the more chances people would have taken on him if he was more pleasant to be around.
Right. I mean, look at the career that Bill Murray has had. Right.
Right.
Not merely in terms of the range he's been able to display, but the fact that pretty much everyone who works with him has a good story to tell,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, look, at some point you're not going to be a draw anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, it's all, not to say Bill Murray is at that stage, but it's all about the relationships you've built, right?
Right.
It's all about people being like, oh, hey, this guy's easy to work with, so let's,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you think about it, Community was that was the rope ladder that was thrown to him from a helicopter,
Right.
And and he just lit fire to it,
Yep.
It's odd.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, some people just can't get out of their own way.
Yeah. And I feel personally offended by that last statement, Brian. I think we should handle this off mic.
All right. Well,
let's just go to an ad right now. We'll talk about it during the ad, and then I'll talk about what I've seen.
sounds good.
And hey, Brian, here's some stuff I've seen.
Okay. And you know what? I'm really glad. That was like such a really great talk that I think most people would have benefited from hearing from. And I think we're better off for it, our relationship here that we just had.
We laughed, we cried, we hugged it out digitally.
Yep.
It was a moment. It's a whole CW miniseries that just occurred during our ad for whatever y'all heard. I don't know.
Dentine gum. I don't know.
So here's the thing. Last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, I watched The Rock with my kids, and I had a good time with that. And then I was like, you know what? Since we're in the mid to late 90s Nicolas Cage action movie wheelhouse, I was like, let's watch Con Air.
Mm-hmm.
And Con Air is a movie that I have not seen since 1997.
Oh, okay.
So it was basically a brand new experience for me.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Now I'm incredibly curious.
What I've said about The Rock is I feel like The Rock is the last great action movie of the 90s, and people come back to me with, well, what about Con Air? And what I've said previously is Con Air, you kind of have to like it, but it's like, well, yes, but, and I still feel that way. I think it works. I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it.
Mm-hmm.
But you kind of have to squint a little bit through sort of the plot mechanics of this thing,
Sure.
You know what I mean? And then you got Nicolas Cage hamming it up as as the southern guy, right?
I think that's what he's doing.
He's from Alabama, right?
Yeah. Well, for people, it has probably been a while for some people. I mean, when you say plot mechanics,
So
what's sort of the setup?
Well, I think first of all, from the jump, right? So Nicolas Cage plays this guy who's just been, he's left the Army Rangers, so, honorably discharged,
Mm-hmm.
and he comes home to his pregnant wife,
mm-hmm.
who, by the way, now he's been gone for a while, but his wife, who is pregnant, is not even showing. Mm-hmm. So the math isn't really working for me there.
Hadn't thought about it. Good observation.
Right? No, that's number one. Because we have a visual timeline to know how long it's been since you've seen him, right?
Doesn't he call her his hummingbird? Hummingbird.
Hello, hummingbird. Doesn't that seem like something that Nicolas Cage probably thought of?
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, so he's at the bar where she works, and he's like dancing with his wife, and the wife is played by Monica Potter, by the way. And then you have these two, Hick Biffington and Biff Hickington.
Yeah.
They're like, look at that guy dancing with her, that some bitch. And you're like it's so
it's so true. Yeah.
This is like 1997 when the movie came out, right? Yeah. And I'm like, I don't think that was like anti-troop sentiment. Look at that bastard with them medals. Who is he?
Who do you think you are? Yeah.
Yeah, So anyway, so they kind of like start flirting with her and whatever, and she's like, no. She breaks it up. And then like when he leaves with her, they're like, come on here, Captain America, we're gonna kick your ass, right?
Yeah.
And so he like gets into a fight with them. Okay. Now he gets into the fight, and then inadvertently one of these guys gets killed. Right? Mm-hmm. And so he gets taken in front of a judge, and the judge is like, "You're going to jail for 10 years."
Right? Why? Because he is a deadly weapon, and he should know better.
Which I'm like, there is an armload of extenuating circumstances here.
Right? I know.
Right? So to me, it's like, okay. all right.
Okay.
I'm like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
All right. We got, like, I mean, when you think about it, it's like plot mechanics. And this entire thing, the premise for this movie started with somebody blow drying their hair with a Conair dryer. Right? And they're like,
they slowly put it in front of their face.
Right.
Wait a minute.
Right? That's the birth of this movie. Somebody blow drying their comb over with the Conair. And then
air.
Yeah. That's how this started.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm not mocking that. I am giving a slow clap to that.
Absolutely.
Because God bless. So you the premise, you start with the premise of, okay, we got a plane full of cons.
Yes.
So then you say, well, we got to have a good guy on there. What do we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
It can't be a cop because that's boring. So we got to have a good guy con.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you see what I'm saying? You put all you pull all these threads together.
Yeah.
You kind of respect it.
I admire it.
Right. Right. I think the movie does a pretty good job of setting up a ridiculous scenario.
Yes.
And you being like, all right, this is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So that was me throughout the movie. I was like, all right, this is what we're doing.
Right.
Basically at like 20-minute intervals, I just said it out loud to nobody.
Your kid's like, who are you talking to, Dad?
Yeah. Why do you keep looking off into the distance like that? Yeah.
You got to do it. You got to do it. Just like to the distance.
But look at the cast. You got Nicolas Cage, John Cusack, John Malkovich, Ving Rhames, Danny Trejo, Colm Meaney's in there. What's his name? Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle, yeah.
I mean, it is an impressive lineup to populate what is an exploitation action movie, right?
Yeah. Oh, Steve Buscemi.
And he's great in it. Yeah. You know, and so to me, it's like I had an absolute blast watching this because truly they just don't make movies like this anymore.
No, it's preposterous. It's I going back to what I was saying about my fiance's. Oh, this might have been another commentary that's coming.
I know you're but what I may say in the future.
Yeah. Her younger brother was having a hard time with The Rock.
Can I tell you something, Brian?
Yeah.
I'm not joking. As I was watching, I was thinking of your fiance's younger brother, who I've never met.
Yes,
that's a fact.
That's hilarious because I was like, I think. I don't know. Like he would almost have to be prepared for this film. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I think he would just initially reject it because it's so bonkers and silly and campy in a way that films have not been in a while.
Right.
Yeah. But
it's over the top, but like back then, that's just what action movies were.
Yeah, you know what? And I think it is the type of thing too, where it's like a plane will have a cable that's pulling a car that blows something up, and like an electric guitar in the soundtrack will go wow, and it's like it's not like we were dumb, like we knew that was ridiculous, but we liked it. Like like we were aware, but it was almost like that's what we were saying on something else too. Again, that we probably haven't released yet. But like the 90s was that sort of self-aware, like, yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to smirk while we're doing it, but we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what these movies were like.
I agree with that. Yeah. I mean, I think it holds up for being that, you know?
It's a delicate balance too when a lot of your main characters are like murderers, and there's like kind of an ick factor to a lot of your main characters, but you've got to try to thread that needle where you don't mind hanging out with them for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean,
how does that play? I mean, do you
Steve Buscemi is like a Hannibal Lecter type,
right? And there's I remember in the theater being very uncomfortable in that scene where he's with the girl. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, you're supposed to be happy because there's a thing involving a little girl, and you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And then the way it's resolved, you're supposed to be like, oh, whew, right?
Right.
Which is like that. I mean, the fact that it puts you in that perspective is interesting because when you flip it against the very end of the film, where, I mean, this is a spoiler for like a 24-year-old movie, turns out Steve Buscemi got away.
Right.
And you're supposed to be like, all right, this guy,
Right.
because he gets like the best lines throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're supposed to forget that he's like a friggin' psychopath, that even
Right.
the other cons are like, stay away from that guy,
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a, Danny Trejo plays his character Johnny 23.
Right.
The
That's
number
my
23.
memory. I'm wondering if
Yeah,
I remember thinking that was gross at the time.
It and it's still gross.
Yeah.
So the 23 refers to people he's assaulted. Right?
Yeah.
And so we have a prison guard played by Rachel Ticotin, who like basically
Right.
from the moment he comes into the movie, he's like, he can't wait to like add her to his list, right?
Right.
And like it, to me, what made it gross is that I don't know. It's. I was thinking about this. I was like, on the one hand, like Rachel Ticotin, she's obviously very attractive, but she's also tough. Like, you believe she can fend him off.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not a victim per se, right?
Sure.
But just the construct is meant to be like for one of the male characters to like rescue her, right?
Right.
Which, like, I think today, that you wouldn't have that. You would have her humiliate him.
That's what I would want to see, is her take him
right
out.
Yeah. But yeah, I would recommend it, but with an asterisk if you haven't seen it,
that's my memory of it. So
yeah. That said, actually, another action movie not too long after that was The Last Castle.
Yeah, I've never seen this.
This is one I feel like most people do not remember, even if they have seen it.
Mm-hmm.
It's directed by Rod Lurie, and it came out in 2001, and it was like fall of 01. It stars Robert Redford. And it was like the Robert Redford 1-2 punch, because it was The Last Castle, followed very shortly by Spy Game.
Right. Operation Dinner Out.
Right, exactly. Now,
I don't know why I remember that.
Because it's a great movie, Brian.
Yeah, it is good.
I love Spy Game, which I may have talked about in an episode many moons ago. But this one, like, it's one of those ones where I'm like, I think I saw it, but I had no memory of it.
Right.
So here, look at the cast: Robert Redford, James Gandolfini, Mark Ruffalo, Delroy Lindo.
Wow.
Right, and this is one of those, like, you're kind of like, I'm gonna get a certain amount of something with this cast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe it won't be great, but I know I'm getting something.
Right.
And the only thing missing was Mark Ruffalo being like, they knew. A little disappointed by that.
He was still finding his voice. Yeah.
He was still figuring that out. But this is, Brian, 100% I would recommend this movie.
Really?
This is it's Saturday afternoon. I feel like watching something I haven't seen.
Okay.
This is totally, I don't know how I would have reacted to it in the theater.
Explain what you mean.
Like, I feel like, it goes through certain familiar paces, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Enough that I could see watching it in theater and being kind of like whatever about it, you know what I mean?
Sure.
But it is like a perfect watch at home movie you haven't seen before.
I get that. A little less stakes. Leaving your house to go out and feel like it was worth your $15.
Totally, yeah. Because back in 2001, I would be watching movies all the time in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I missed this one.
Yeah, I mean, I know I did. I remember it. I think I saw you post something on it, and I even remembered the poster.
Yeah.
But I just never caught it.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because the original poster, which I remember in the theaters, had the U.S. flag flying upside down, which is a symbol of distress.
Right.
And then, the movie came out very shortly after 9/11, and they had to change the marketing campaign because they felt like it was disrespectful given everything that was going on. And I actually think that may be one of the reasons it kind of underperformed is because it's about this military prison, right? And you sort of you have James Gandolfini, who is the colonel who is in charge of the prison, but he's never actually seen a battlefield action,
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got Robert Redford, who's sent to prison because he started a fight with Nicolas Cage, this army ranger.
I was like, are you serious?
He's like, that son bitch.
He killed my friend.
It's kind of similar though, right? Because he plays this really highly decorated general who's sent to prison.
Okay.
And so they've had to sort of construct a scenario that would put him in this prison, which I won't get into. So you have kind of this battle of wills between these two people. Now, I mean, you tell me. Like, you hear, hey, Robert Redford facing off with James Gandolfini. Like, just give me my ticket, right? Like, and I think it lives up to that. Like, I think it's worth watching just for that. And especially now that Redford is kind of like retired, right? Like, some of these latter day performances of his don't get talked about as much, but they're great, you know?
What's sort of what's like sort of going on? I mean, is it a battle of wills kind of movie, or is it?
Yeah, in the sense that Gandolfini is abusing his authority, right? So it's very much like prison movie tropey. You know, you got some Shawshank in there, you got some of this, but it's kind of it's an action movie still. Okay. And you know, my kids, I mentioned this, like my second one, he's like, I think Shawshank is the best movie I've ever seen. Remember that? Right. We watched this. He's like, I just like prison movies.
I love that.
You know, I'm like, as long as you keep it at movies, right, it's fine. Right. You know,
that's such a cute observation.
It's funny, you know. I feel like I want to watch the movie Lock Up now, which is that like late '80s Stallone movie. Do you remember that?
I remember the title.
That was like at the tail end of Stallone's like dominance. But I totally, like, as I was watching it, I was thinking of you. I was like, this is totally one of those things where you're like, hey, here's the thing I haven't seen before. I think at that level, you know how I recommended Escape Plan to you?
You know, I almost started it the other night, but you recommended I watch it with my brother, and I was like, okay, I'm going to save that for the next time we hang out and watch something.
This is like in that vein. I would be absolutely shocked if at the end of it you were like, hey, that was good, that was nice.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Cool.
It's not going to change your life.
Yeah.
But you will not regret having spent the time.
Perfect.
So there's that. And while we're talking about changing people's lives, there is a new extended edition of Super Mario Brothers the movie.
Have we talked about this? I guess we probably have, right? I mean, this was, for people who don't know, obviously Super Mario Brothers was one of the biggest things in the world, and then a movie came out and it had very little to do with Super Mario Brothers, and it ended up being like an enormous flop, which had I think most people know it for having a troubled production, right? And how much Bob Hoskins hated being a part of it.
Yes.
Yeah. So now they've made it longer.
So the backstory here, the movie came out 1993, mere weeks before Jurassic Park. So I mean, this thing was DOA, and then it was roadkill. You know. Mm-hmm. It had no chance. However, in the quarter century since it came out, it has taken on a sort of, it has taken on a cult following.
Right.
And that is sort of a side effect of any of these types of movies. But I think it says something about how when you are a certain age, when you watch a thing, you just imprint on it like a baby raptor.
Yeah, sure. Right. Totally understandable. I get it.
I've made this comparison before. You can never convince me that Masters of the Universe, the movie, did not cost $150 million and is just amazing.
Yeah, right.
I refuse to see the tinfoil that the movie is entirely built out of. Right. It's kind of like that with Super Mario Brothers for the people who grew up with it.
Yeah.
I am not among those because. I think I was 13 when it came out, so I was maybe slightly older than the kids who had really. But anyway, there is a whole website called the Super Mario Brothers Movie Archive, which is actually run by a friend of mine, Ryan Haas, who's really done a hell of a thing, pulling together, the initial designs and interviewing people involved. I mean, really, like. This is the place for this.
And wasn't he responsible for like the high definition release that we have today? Like, wasn't he behind that?
That's correct. Yeah. So
it's amazing.
Yeah, his website, like this movie, the Super Mario Brothers movie, the theatrical was on YouTube and just fully, and his site was responsible for getting it pulled down and really like trying to have this thing treated with respect, which you got to respect. I think what I say about this movie is it's not necessarily good, but it is fascinating, and maybe that's just as good.
You know what? I watched it for the first time thanks to your friend's efforts and your sort of light suggestion and curiosity, frankly, too, because I love Mario and I'd missed it. And I would actually put it in the same category as the Invisible Man movie, where I can't say I enjoyed the story and like what they did with Mario. Like, to me, it's not even really a Mario movie, but it is visually insane.
Yeah.
Like, if, again, I think there's certain types of people. I've said this before, where some people can only watch movies once, but for me, I don't mind watching them multiple times. And it's because sometimes I'm just looking at it, like I'm just following the camera. I'm looking at what they filled the frame, why they're moving it the way they are, whatever. And if you watch movies like that, this movie has so much visually going on that is just, it's an impressive undertaking. I mean, they built a whole like industrial, weird, cyberpunky kind of world.
Yeah.
Like pretty much at the very, very, very early stages of CG. So most of it's practical, and it is really impressive. Like I say, like visually and set design and all of that.
Just the whole notion of being like, all right, let's take the milieu of Mario based on the video games, which was like up to and including Super Mario World, right? And being like, let's like find an explanation for all of it. Right. Whereas the game is like, hey, these guys like go through this tube and they're in a world where, you're flying around and you turn into a raccoon and stuff.
Yeah, there's turtles and mushrooms and
So the movie, and I'm sure I've said this on this show, it's like a YouTube like Funny or Die. Like, what if we did like a realistic Mario Brothers? And so, like I said, like I think it's absolutely worth watching. I'm not. I think it's too tonally kind of all over the place to truly be good. But I just think like you just don't see movies like this, right? So anyway, I was tasked with checking out a new extended edition that the Super Mario Brothers archive folks put out, and this is based on a VHS copy that one of the producers had and they got a hold of. And so what these cats did is they spent a while actually taking that VHS tape and remastering it.
Wow. And, so remastered from VHS?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty impressive the work they put into putting together. And I think what they did was they used the remastered footage that they already had, intercut it with the VHS footage, and added certain scenes, etc., so to make it a proof of concept.
Sure. So is it like the Donner cut, where some of it does actually look a little different once it cuts?
Yeah. Because you got intros and outros of scenes that are like, you've got time code at the bottom and stuff like that.
Ah, I see.
It's a lot of that. I think it's meant to be kind of, hey, Disney, I think they own the rights to the movie. Like, this is worth putting out, and they're calling it the Morton and Jankel cut, which is they're the directors, and so it bumps the runtime up to over 2 hours. I think it's like 2 hours and 5 minutes, so about 20 minutes added. And what I said in my review is like, if you already liked the movie, then it's more of what you like. It's not going to make a difference if you don't already like it, but I think. The thing about this movie, it's almost, you have to judge it as two things. You have to judge it as a movie and as a Mario Brothers adaptation.
Right.
And on the latter, well, that it's a fail.
Right.
It's not an ad. It's like Luigi isn't even Mario's brother. He's like, he found him and adopted him and raised him. So I'm like, okay, so he's like your adopted dad, whatever that is. However, for as much as Bob Hoskins hated being in this movie, he's really good in this movie. He's just Bob Hoskins, man. He has like a certain energy, that I enjoy seeing.
Yeah.
So as far as the new extended version, it is a better movie.
Really?
It Yes, but it is not a better Mario Brothers movie because
okay.
there's no making this a better Mario Brothers movie.
I see. Well, how do people watch this then? I mean, is this?
It's online. You can just it's on an online website, like an archive website.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like it's a better version of the movie that they were trying to make.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays thanks to in the aftermath of Zack Snyder, everyone's like, "Oh, the studio got in, they ruined it, and whatever." And it's like, no, guys, this is just what happens. Okay,
right. Every movie
process.
has a director's cut. Yeah,
every movie. It's so weird how like people have lost the ability to bring nuance to these things. It's like, look, that's the process. The directors, especially first-time directors, which is what these people were.
Mm-hmm.
You put together your edit, and then there's notes, and you make the edits. You know why? It's not your money; it's the studio's money.
Right.
That's it. That's just how it is.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like they're always doing this against their will. Also, I mean, they're getting other sets of eyes on it, and as much as some directors complain about test audiences, some directors love test audiences. You know, and then they get a new perspective and they whittle it down. And sometimes you'll hear directors even be like, "No, the final cut, that is my director's cut. I'm very happy with it." You know,
right? So that's it's out there to watch for free. There's a website. Just Google it, Super Mario Brothers Extended. You'll find it. It's not hard to find. It's not some bootleg. Well, it is a bootleg, but it's out there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to jump through too many hoops. And yeah, my caveat is if you were like amenable towards the one that came out, this does improve on that in little ways. But is it still kind of like a mess? Yeah, it absolutely is. It's just the credit. I mean, it's produced by Roland Yoffe, who produced like The Killing Fields.
Wow.
Right? It's written by Ed Solomon. He's one of the writers.
That's crazy. I'd love to hear him talk about that.
I would too. I'd be curious what he had to say about it.
Yeah.
But there is a new Super Mario Brothers movie coming out, I think next year, which is going to be like CG animated.
So curious because, like you said, I mean, that world is just very confusing, frankly. I mean, I love it as a game because it's a lot of fun to play, but having someone try to make any sense of it narratively, I'm kind of curious.
You know, Brian, it harkens back to a time when a rights holder would essentially hand off the movie rights to somebody and just let them do whatever they want. Right? And that's no longer the case because there's so much vertical integration.
Right?
Like, because essentially Nintendo's like, yeah, here you go, whatever.
Right.
Let us know how it goes. Right? And you just never see that. If you're Nintendo, you're looking at every piece of development.
Right. Now there's going to be Nintendo Studios, I'm sure.
Yeah, right, exactly. You know, it's sort of like, it reminds me of like, way like when Marvel, was first starting out and they were having like TV shows and movies, like the Incredible Hulk TV show was, they had made a deal with Universal for various TV things. And for the TV show, they're like, well, he's Bruce Banner, but we're going to call him David. And the Hulk isn't going to talk and he's going to, like, his origin will be totally different. Like everything's different, and the show turned out fine, the Bill Bixby TV show. But today you wouldn't stray that, you just wouldn't be allowed to, right? Because the company would be thinking about, well, we want something that's going to help our catalog, of comic books or whatever,
Well, and also audiences back then would maybe complain on the playground, but that's where it would end, right? But now everyone can like raise their voices, together and be like, that's not how it's supposed to be. It's like, they have to please the fans in a way that I don't think they've ever had to in history before.
That's very true. You know what's funny is it's funny you mentioned that. Literally just a few hours ago, I read a letter sent to the LA Times in like 1988 complaining about how Mr. Mom had been cast as Batman.
Right.
And I'm kind of like, was that the first time where this stuff bubbled up into the mainstream?
Right. Where the news would report on some letter by an angry person about something that really doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah.
I
was like, oh wow, what
an artifact that should be in the Twitter museum.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's the Super Mario Brothers movie. Why don't we take a break and then we'll talk about some listener letters, etc. And we are back, and we have a couple comments from our commentary track for The Rock, which just dropped a couple days ago.
Oh, cool.
So this is from Carlos Bello, who says, I'm loving this commentary. Definitely one of my favorite action movies from when I was a kid. You guys mentioned how this movie got the Criterion Collection treatment, proving what a good movie this is. I agree with you guys. However, I have a hazy memory of seeing a certain other Michael Bay movie in the Criterion Collection. And sure enough, my memory was correct, and it refers to Armageddon, which I think we mentioned in the track.
I think we did, yeah.
But in a testament to how these commentaries go in one ear and out the other for me as I deliver them, I forgot that we mentioned the Armageddon Criterion track, Criterion cut. Now, my question to you is, not remembering exactly what we talked about in the commentary, what accounts for Armageddon getting the Criterion treatment?
That is a very good question, because I think we both agreed that The Rock deserved to be there as a marker of a type of action style that was sort of pioneered and pulled off well and, recognized in the annals of film history, sort of a thing. Armageddon is one of those movies that I don't remember the last time I've seen it all the way through.
Yeah.
And I remember not hating it, actually, like a lot of people seem to.
No.
But but it's silly. Like, it is silly. But I don't know. I don't know why, if they have, Criterion has The Rock from, say, 96 or whatever, and Armageddon, I'm guessing, is like 98 or something, or 99.
98, yeah.
I'm wondering why they felt like they wanted both. And I would pick The Rock over Armageddon. I don't know. What do you think?
The Rock was critically liked.
Right.
The Armageddon very much was not.
Right.
So, like, it was a financial success, as far as I know.
I would imagine, yeah.
And it's a movie people, I think now, retrospectively, like, oh, that movie sucked.
Sure.
And actually, I'd have to go back and read my review, because I wrote a contemporaneous review of it. I don't remember what I said, but, it's just one of those in one eyeball out the other type movies.
Yeah, and it's really throwing the kitchen sink, kind of, low-hanging fruit humor, like very, very corny ending, whatever. But it's like, at the same time, it is like a big, bombastic package, and it's, I don't know. To me, it fit in for the moment. But
that summer, that was the summer of Godzilla. That was the summer of Deep Impact and Armageddon. So it's almost like that. It was just cities getting destroyed.
Yeah, maybe that was the thing. It was almost like beginning to border on parody of what we were doing with those big sort of movies.
Yeah,
but it's like ragtag, right? Like Steve Buscemi and, is it Michael Clark Duncan, I think, and Owen Wilson's in it, which was exciting for me.
Is Steve Buscemi part of the casting? I don't remember.
Wow. I can almost put Steve Buscemi in any of those movies in my head.
Is he in that?
Now it's going down, but I'm 88% certain. I swear I thought he was. Right?
Yes,
like I could.
He is. He's
yes.
in it.
Okay. Yeah.
And Ben Affleck, of course.
Of course, and Bruce Willis, and Liv Tyler.
My clearest memory of that film, honestly, but none of the big effect sequences or whatever. It's Ben Affleck and Liv Tyler like lying down in some grass or whatever.
Yes.
And he's like using animal crackers to like go up and down her body, and she's like, "Do you think anyone else is doing this right now?"
Yes.
And he's like, "If they're not, what are we fighting to save?"
Yeah. I mean, that's the movie. That's what that movie is. That's what you're working with. Yeah.
That's what you're working with. So there's your Criterion.
I would seriously like to read whatever essay, because don't all the Criterion movies have essays? I would be curious to read the essay on Armageddon. I actually, by the way, after we did The Rock, I looked it up to see if it was available because I wanted to like listen to all the commentaries and stuff. And I don't know if it was ever available on Blu-ray. It was on DVD, but I don't know.
If I'm not mistaken, the Blu-ray edition kind of ported over all the stuff from the Criterion DVD.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't a Criterion release, but they took all of their material and put it onto Blu-ray.
I believe so. I'm fairly certain because it has a decent array of extras and things. Yeah, look at this. Here, I pulled it up on Blu-ray.com. It says, much has been made of the inclusion of all the supplements from the original Criterion release of The Rock on this Blu-ray release. Indeed, this is the case, as every last Criterion-produced supplement is on this disc. I knew that.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you can get the Blu-ray, you're going to get everything that was on it.
Well, there you go.
And I think it's still available. I don't think it's out of print.
And then Criterion like basically put all those things in a brown box and left it in the street in front of the Blu-ray plant and then walked away, or ran away rather, you know? Like
you can get The Rock on Blu-ray, by the way, for $7.80.
Oh, come on.
And it is a no-brainer given everything that comes with it. Absolutely. If you have even a little bit of inclination and you're still like a physical media person, like I've gotten rid of most of my Blu-rays, but I know I hung on to The Rock.
Yeah. Actually, I just did that recently as I was cleaning out. I had a DVD of Roger Rabbit, and I was like, look, I know this is on Disney Plus, but there's just so many features and the commentaries, and I just really love that movie. And it's $5 the Blu-ray on Amazon. I was like, well, you gotta.
Yeah.
So I replaced it with a Blu-ray. So I don't know. We got to stick together, Zachy.
I know, exactly.
Us physical media guys.
It's physical me. I mean, I know some people who've got just, shelves upon shelves upon shelves of that stuff for fear that they're never going to have it again. And I'm like, that's fine if that's your thing. I'm just like, I don't have the space to dedicate to it, right?
Yeah.
So that I've narrowed it down. I'm like, there's certain discs that I want to have.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of like, if the internet is out, what are like the 5, 10, 20 movies that I would want to have? That's sort of my way of justifying it.
Yeah.
But The Rock is in there. That's my point. And for $7.80, it should be in all y'all people's listening to this as well. Here's another comment about our commentary on The Rock. This is from David Gutierrez. He says, interesting, Brian, and you talk about a movie where Connery has great chemistry with the co-star, and you didn't need to see a sequel with them. Like Highlander, right, Brian?
Yes, right. Yes, that cracked me up. I saw that, and I responded to him. And I think I put a response in there, and this is a true story. I was flipping through TV, and Highlander 3 was on. And I was like, oh, so maybe they're showing all of them. So I did a search trying to find if the first one was playing. And it wasn't. And I was like, well, I tried. I really, I'm going to watch it shortly. I really will. It's sort of like now on my like sort of, what do you want to call it? Like my list, like the top of my list, like of the things when I'm not sure after I've done Beverly Hills Cop 4 or whatever, like it'll be Highlander.
Well, the nice thing about Highlander is you don't have to watch any of them after the first one.
Yeah, well, okay, there we go.
So you're not on board for a whole saga. It's just one movie and then a bunch of terrible sequels that have nothing to do with the first movie.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice. That said, I will counsel you to maybe take people's overeager reactions to Highlander with a grain.
Yeah. Oh no, I think I don't really know a lot about the movie, but I'm pretty good at putting on those glasses when I watch some of these older films.
It is a very well made 80s action movie.
Sure.
But it is very, very, I mean, it is like the 1986 action movie. Like,
sure.
It is locked in.
Okay.
Yeah,
but I have to say, all these comments about this and Bloodsport and stuff, every single one catches me off guard and makes me laugh a lot. So
those are the two. Yeah, I'm not recommending either of them to you per se. Mm. Like, I'm not like, hey, you're in for a great time, because I genuinely don't know what you would think. I don't think either of them are bad movies, but there is a heavy amount of like, nostalgic investment, I think, for both.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I can't remember if we talked about it on air or off, but I rewatched Rambo 2, which
Okay.
I have maybe only seen once in my life. And then I watched 3. I was like, let's just do it. Let's go through all of them. And I don't know if it's sort of similar where they do feel very, very honed in on their time period when they were released. However, I still enjoyed them for what they were.
Well, you know me, I'm a Rambo defender, even the third one, which nobody defends.
Right.
So I'm right there with you. I think if nothing else for those movies, like great music scores by Gary Goldstein.
For sure. By the way, I don't think we have this on the document, but Rocky IV director's cut has a date.
Yeah, November
11th in theaters.
Yeah, so I'm fascinated by that.
Me too. What is it going to be? I mean, is it going to be how much wasn't in the film that he's going to put back? Like, is he going to try to make it a little less montagey? Like, what? I'm so curious what his vision is for a restyled or re-edited Rocky IV.
Well, and I mean that's the thing with that movie is it's 90 minutes soaking wet.
Right.
So, did he shoot it to be short, or is there a whole, an entire subplot that's been cut out?
Right. That's worth bring back to light. Yeah.
Right.
I'm there. I'm just very curious about this.
Actually, speaking of Rocky, here's another message we got from Jeffrey on our Facebook page. He says, I don't know if you heard, but the Rocky TV series is actually a thing.
Oh.
And this relates to, we were talking about Amazon purchasing MGM, and I said, if they were to do have Stallone do a Rocky streaming series where it's whatever his next chapter is, I'd watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently this is a thing that's been talked about. This is March of this year, actually, so not that long ago, via Cinema Blend.
Mm-hmm.
It says Stallone is working on a Rocky prequel series that would be streaming. Now, I will just say that a prequel series is a lot less interesting to me because I feel like Rocky's story started in the first movie. I don't.
Right.
What is there to know about him that we didn't already know?
Right.
So, young Rocky, not a fan.
Right.
Old as dirt Rocky, sign me up.
Right.
That's the version I want to see. I mean, seriously, like, he's like a young leg breaker, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a total loser before the first movie, so we're just gonna watch him fight and lose.
Yeah.
That's not interesting to me.
I don't know. Remember they were going to do that with Die Hard. There was going to be a John McClane movie where he was before
And that's exactly like it's prequel fever is at a point where people don't realize, like, well, oftentimes the beginning of the story is all we should ever need.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean,
or do like a Lion King 1.5 where there's a movie going on in the background of the movie you like.
No,
if you must.
I mean, if they were to do a Rocky, like a modern day thing, kind of a Godfather 2 type thing, where you're juxtaposing what's going on right now with something that happened to him in the past, and it builds up to some kind of culmination, that would make sense to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's to be continued. Both whether Rocky prequel will happen or whether Brian will watch Highlander. Both of those TBD. Yeah. We'll see. Let's take another break. Come back, watch some trailers, and discuss them. And we are back, and hey, we did not talk trailers in our last episode. We got a little bit of a backlog. So I was like, all right, well, let's just knock them out.
Let's do it.
Because I know there's nothing Brian loves more than editing in little trailer audio sound bites.
Taking the trailers off the internet and downloading them and finding the perfect points that work for audio and fading them in and fading them out. And then
it is your favorite part of this entire process.
Yes, I love it.
I know that. So I was like, you know what? For you, Brian, belated birthday present.
Thank you.
Here we go. So here's one. This is Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe Origins, aka movie aimed only at Zachy. I don't know who else is going to watch it. I'm going to be there.
Right.
I'm going to buy up a theater just to watch this thing.
So no one else can come in, or like?
Yeah. I'll give people seats, but I want to make sure it succeeds.
I see.
That's the kind of guy I am.
Yeah.
I'm like, I saw this trailer and I had two thoughts at the same time. I was like, I hope this is good. And then I also thought, I doubt Brian has any interest in this.
I was like deciding whether or not to fake that I've seen this trailer or let you tell me what you thought of it, because I haven't seen it.
Okay. So, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to play some of the audio, if only because it will give Brian an opportunity to watch the trailer.
It will,
because he's gonna have to pull it off the internet and all that, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
Every warrior has a beginning.
I'm on a new level.
For 600 years, our ninja have brought peace to the world.
I'm on a new level.
I need warriors like you. Join us.
What do I have to do? The journey from here is yours to decide. But that is just the beginning.
I'm on a new level.
So this is again, it's called Snake Eyes. They've added G.I. Joe Origins in the marketing, but I don't think it's the official title. But I think they want to differentiate it from the 1998 Nicolas Cage, Brian De Palma movie.
Right.
Just in case. Which I saw that in the theater.
So did I.
Yeah, that was not a fun
Well, you know what? It was probably The Rock and then Con Air, and I was like, I want to see everything Nicolas Cage does.
And then I got off that train. I was like, okay, well, that's it for me. So this is directed by Robert Schwentke.
Okay,
I think I'm saying that right. He of the Divergent films and also R.I.P.D.
Right, the Ryan Reynolds, Jeff
Bridges joint. Yeah. I know the Time Traveler's Wife. Actually, that was a pretty decent movie. I enjoyed that.
I don't know if I saw
That's
that.
the one with Eric Bana.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked that, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is Paramount / Hasbro desperately trying to turn G.I. Joe into a thing.
Mm-hmm. Again.
They've tried twice. Again. Yeah. The previous two movies didn't do great. Now, Snake Eyes, Brian, in case you don't know, he's like the Wolverine of G.I. Joe.
Okay.
Not in the sense that he's got the same personality, but he's like the popular character.
Right.
So it's like he's sort of first among equals, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And in the mythology, whether they're talking about the cartoon show or the comics, whatever, Snake Eyes is mute. He is unable to speak.
Right.
And he's also horribly disfigured thanks to an accident.
Okay.
In this film, he's played by Henry Golding, who is very much not horribly disfigured. And he speaks.
Oh.
But this is the origin. So
right,
we're gonna get
right.
One presumes that by the end of this thing, we end up at a place where he's, who he was in the comics. Now, it's impossible to separate my hopes for this from what's actually going to happen. So, if you know me, I'm a huge G.I. Joe fan. I grew up with the toys and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been like hoping and rooting for like a good movie. And I actually liked at least the second one of the previous movies. I think what this is doing is kind of like a Bumblebee type thing. The movie Bumblebee.
Does he get paired up with a kid?
Not that.
Okay.
But taking like a very big mythology with a lot of characters and just sort of paring it down.
Sure.
And focusing on only a small handful. And I'm kind of like, well, maybe that's the way to go, right? I mean, if nothing else, it keeps the budget down.
I mean, do you feel like it's really hard to translate G.I. Joe, the version you loved, the cartoon, to live action?
Hard in the sense that they have not necessarily succeeded up to this point, yes.
Right.
Hard in that it is impossible, no.
Right.
Because I think the trick is you got to find an in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, ever since I was a kid, it was the character stuff that was always appealing to me. Like the character of Snake Eyes
Mm-hmm.
is interesting. He's like a tragic figure, and there's a whole through line built in. And I've always said, I'm like, you could do something really interesting with this.
Right.
I have no idea whether this film will actually do that, but I do like the general approach. And the character wears a mask, even though in the comic books, when he's been shown without his mask, he's Caucasian. So naturally, you cast an Asian actor, people lose their minds.
Oh, really?
Of course, right? But I'm like, well, Henry Golding is like a brand right now because he was in Crazy Rich Asians and a couple other things. And I'm like, if his presence in this thing puts butts in seats, why not do it? Right? I'm optimistic because I take the Brian Hall approach of like, well, I hope this is the best version of this.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I hope it's good. It's coming out soon. It's going to be out like next month.
Oh, wow.
So I will certainly be watching it. I will not twist your arm, but
that's
we'll see.
kind of a thing now, isn't it? Where these movies that are coming out, the advertising doesn't start as early as it used to.
Isn't that kind of nice?
They're sort of capitalizing on our short attention spans.
It is nice not to have marketing campaigns that just stretch interminably, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, it kind of makes sense, I guess, right? Because then when I see an ad for something and I think, oh, well, I want to watch this now, but was it going to be like this Christmas? And it's like, no, in 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, well, that's great.
Well, like we got the new Fast and Furious is coming out in a couple weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And part of the big sell is that if you go see it in IMAX, they're going to show you the prologue for Jurassic World 3.
Right.
In front of Fast and Furious. And that movie doesn't come out until next year.
Oh, wow.
So it's a full year out. And I was thinking, like, I don't remember seeing something like this that far out.
Yeah, I don't either. The only thing that comes to mind is I remember the seeing I Am Legend, and they had the Dark Knight thing before it.
Yeah, but that was like 6 months out.
Yeah. I think the IMAX was the connection.
Because I Am Legend was like Christmas of 2007.
Yeah.
Dark Knight was that summer.
Yeah. But
you know what occurs
I get
to
it
me?
with something as huge as Jurassic World, and that was like a whole COVID story, right? Where they basically had to shut down, and then they were shooting through it, and they're probably like, no, we got to prime the world again to get excited about this universe, and a lot riding.
Well, the other thing is the movie is done way in advance, which tends not to be the case under normal production circumstances.
Right.
There's also that.
Yeah.
But the thought I had is, something like Jurassic Park, it's going to end up being 4 years between the last one and this upcoming one.
Oh, wow.
And in a way, maybe it's just me. Doesn't that feel kind of nice?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking with the Star Wars sequels. There was something to the every 3 years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's probably helpful for the filmmakers. It also, I don't know, built up just the right amount of anticipation. I understand the eagerness, but yeah, maybe there's something to it.
I think Marvel worked out a formula where they're able to do that like multiple times a year, and it doesn't feel like too many bites at the apple.
Yeah.
I don't know that anyone else has figured that out.
Yeah, right. But they have such a wide cast of characters that they don't have to. We're not keeping up with every character twice a year, right? We can kind of hop around in that world a little bit, which is kind of nice.
That's true. That's a good point. Well, hey, speaking of Marvel, we have not talked about the Eternals trailer.
Wow, I can't believe we haven't.
Yeah, it feels old now, doesn't it?
Yeah. Just so funny. Speaking to that, right? Maybe we should have waited.
So this one, I'm actually genuinely curious to hear your reactions because you're kind of like a normie when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, I don't know who these people are.
Yeah, so you see it now. Now, I would imagine for you, the sell is more like Chloe Zhao having directed it than even it being like the latest Marvel movie.
You know what? It's the combination. Honestly, I mean, we're going to get to it with Loki, but I've enjoyed Marvel set up like a formula, right? And they didn't, instead of letting it get played out, they're like, well, how can we continue to tweak and let each thing have its own distinct personality while feeling like it still belongs in this world? And this just feels like, and I mean, WandaVision, of course, was sort of like that, and Loki even was kind of like that. And they're finding ways to sort of come up with different sorts of, like, even genres within their whole superhero genre, right? And so with this is, bringing in a filmmaker who's very, like, earth tony, if that makes any sense, right? Like a lot of handheld camera and down on the ground in the dirt character sort of filmmaking with Nomadland and the writer and whatnot. So I'm very curious what that type of filmmaker's take is on the superhero genre. And I feel like we got teases of that in this trailer from the way that it looks, and even sort of little situations that we see. And so though I have no doubt it will still feel like a Marvel film. And I think that's sort of the genius of what they're doing right now. So yeah, I agree. Like, I would go see it anyway, but I am extra excited to see it through the eyes of this type of filmmaker.
It is kind of nuts when you watch this trailer and you look at, like, specifically the first Iron Man and how absolutely grounded it is, you know?
Right.
It's positively Nolan-esque in how it attempts to really have, like, a real world explanation for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And to think, like, man, like, pretty soon the world that we see in this movie is going to encompass just this absolutely bananas whatever's going on in this other thing here, you know?
Right. And it's kind of fascinating too. I mean, Marvel, they've done it really well so far, but they kind of have to explain as they introduce more, like, well, if these people could have helped in some of these events earlier, like, where were they? You know? That's
you know, this is just my thought from the trailer. It feels like, and I feel like what you're saying, that's such an obvious plot point that they would have to account for that.
Right.
So I wonder if...
Well, they already sort of did it with Captain Marvel, remember? She's like, it's a big universe. There's a lot going on, you know?
Right. So she's just off Earth.
Right.
So that's that explanation. With because they say this thing, like, you know, I think it's Selma Hayek, like, oh, you know, for everything we've witnessed it all and we've helped them and whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, well, what about, like, when half of the universe blinked out of existence, right? This is just based on the nothing that we get in this trailer, because it's all mood,
right?
It's no plot, but it feels like the various main characters were not themselves, like they forgot their identities, and they sort of remember who they were. That's my sense from whatever little I see in this.
Mm-hmm.
Which would account for why wouldn't they help when it comes to everything that the Thanos business.
Right.
Now, I'm curious if that will turn out to be the case, but that's my guess right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they've got it worked out.
We'll figure it out, but we have a little bit more Marvel stuff to talk about later in the show. Let's take another break and then talk some headlines. So a couple quick headlines. Hey, Brian, Indiana Jones 5 is apparently actually a thing.
I know. Weren't we just talking about this? Where we were saying, when are we going to actually believe that it's happening?
For pretty much the entirety of the movie's development, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Prove it.
Yeah.
Prove it to me.
Yeah.
You got a lot to live up to.
Well, because it kept getting pushed. My trust. Yeah.
I mean, just every development, right? And then this is sort of like in the Simpsons movie, that Irish kid who, like, talks to Lisa and she's like,
what, when you saw the pictures?
As soon as I saw Harrison Ford wearing the jacket and the hat, I'm like,
clasped your hands and spun around in a circle, yeah, and
and just collapsed.
Yeah. Look,
that was me.
I'm not gonna lie, me too. Like, I just, like, and then I was even, like, found myself having a dialogue within my own head, be like, yeah, he's old, but there could be interesting stories with an old Indiana Jones, and like, I can't wait.
Now, I've said this before. Harrison Ford is the same age as my dad. They were both born the same year.
Oh, wow.
And So the thought of my
Your
dad like
yes.
running around and swinging from chandeliers or whatever's going, I'm like, no, I don't want that.
That is hilarious. Yeah.
I want my dad on his easy chair. I want to do everything I can for him.
Right.
So there's going to be a disconnect with whatever Harrison Ford does in this movie. Partially because he's kind of got that like old man run now, you know?
You know what's funny? I saw it wasn't a set photo, but it was just some sort of paparazzi photo of him at a restaurant today in England. And he's wearing that sort of t-shirt and jeans thing he always wears, and his arms, I'm like, damn, like he still looks good. But yes, in the films, he does kind of have the old man turn and run, which is entirely understandable.
Yeah, he's earned that right.
Yes, yeah. I mean, he's almost 80 years old, for goodness sake.
Right.
And the fact that he looks as good as he does better than me in a t-shirt at that age is like pretty amazing. So I think because of all of the above, that's how we can sort of get away with some good editing. And yeah, I believe he could leap into the truck and punch the guy. And
apparently, I don't know how closely you're following some of this stuff, but there's at least some World War II era stuff in the movie.
Yeah. For people who don't mind hearing this, if you want to skip ahead maybe a minute or two, but
just something. Yeah, I mean, I've sort of tried to avoid too much, but there's one this is just speculation on my part. I think probably some kind of flashback thing.
Yeah. Again, if people don't want to know this, you can skip ahead maybe a minute or two. But did you see that picture of the stuntman on the motorcycle?
I didn't, but I read about it.
He was wearing a young Harrison Ford mask, which you imagine then with CGI they'll enhance or.
Oh wow!
To.
Okay,
So
okay.
It would seem that they're probably going to do some sort of flashback.
Kind of a Marvel style thing.
Yeah, and maybe even weirdly like whatever Last Crusade, showing River Phoenix, whatever that age disparity was. Now it'll be like whatever he is now to some disparity with him in World War II.
Maybe this is like the opening sequence.
Yeah, that's my guess. That's my guess.
And then we jump ahead to the present. Oh, okay.
And I think that's kind of a clever way to give us a bit of what we want. Right? I mean, we want to see him punching Nazis, right? And then we leap ahead, and maybe whatever happened in that mission ties into what's going on now.
He's just sitting on an easy chair for the rest of the movie.
Right.
For the remaining 1 hour and 45 minutes.
Right.
It'll just be him kind of rocking back and forth.
Yeah. I mean, maybe
drinking
it's
lemonade.
Like lemonade. Like, yeah, maybe something with that encounter, and there's stolen art or something, and then it's like it's still buried at the bottom of the ocean. Now
they have announced a pretty impressive cast.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Last time, right? I mean, Mads Mikkelsen and Phoebe Waller-Bridge, etc. There's been one name, well, two names. They've already said that Shia LaBeouf is not in this, but they've also not said anything about Karen Allen.
And I did notice in one of the set photos he has a wedding ring on.
Okay.
So whether that's Calista Flockhart's, the thing, and he's going to take it off, or if that's in universe, whether or not she's appears or not, I don't know. I hope so. They better not kill her off.
I think we're gonna have another shot of Indy's desk, and there's gonna be a production still of Marion, and it'll be like, and then Marion got launched into the sun. Ever since that happened, it's been rough.
Yeah.
Right, Charlie. Right, Charlie. And then we have a picture of Jim Broadbent on his desk. When he just turned into a pile of ash.
Right. And then it keeps panning, and then there's Shia LaBeouf, and then losing. No father wants to bury his son, but then there was Mutt, and like,
and then there was that time with Mac, and it's just a still of Mac being pulled into the spiral or whatever.
And he's like, Mac, who I'm fairly. Yes, that's the picture.
That's the picture. It's like, why would he have a picture of that?
Yeah, and I was thinking he's just like, yeah, he was my friend. I'm fairly certain he was my friend. It was really hard to make heads or tails of that, but dude, no, you win. If it's the picture of him being sucked into that alien tornado,
like letting go of the whip. That's the picture.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. I cannot help but be excited for this, and God help me, I know I'm like 45% certain I'm going to feel like I got punched in the balls. I just know it.
You know what? Yes, but we've been punched in the balls before, so we have sort of like a baseline, like, like it's possible now. We didn't know it was possible, right? And so I wonder, even if it isn't that great, if we'll be like, but I've been sort of built up a tolerance to this sort of thing, so it's not going to sting as badly. That's like what I'm hoping is the worst response possible. I'm hoping to love it, obviously.
That's fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Now, speaking of getting punched in the balls, there's more news about MoviePass, Brian.
It just won't die.
This is the story that will not die. So tell me about this.
Okay, so MoviePass, if somehow you listen to the show and don't know what that is, basically it was this incredible service where you paid like around $10 a month and you could watch as many movies as you wanted. Then it became 3 movies like a week. And then it became, why won't my card work? And then it became, you have to, we've been breached security wise, make a new password. Why can't I change my password? The website won't let me on. And then it became, Mission Impossible 7 or 8 is coming out, but you can't see that. But come see some movie called like Animal Crackers or something that you've never heard of. We'll let you into that because I think they had some sort of stake in it. Just a wild and wacky ride it was to be a MoviePass member. So anyway, the Federal Trade Commission filed like an official complaint against MoviePass, like seeking some sort of restitution for people who. Well, first they were trying to see if there was any actual foul play going on here, and it turns out absolutely yes.
Yeah, to quote Mark Ruffalo in the eventual movie about this, they knew!
Yes. And so basically, MoviePass, they have come to find out they were intentionally invalidating subscriber passwords to stop people from using the app too much. They lied.
This is like some Sopranos shit. Like,
the whole reason is because it is impossible to be a business that only accepts $10 from a person who's going to spend over $100 on movie tickets a month. It doesn't work, right? But it was awesome. I mean, when it was. I
actually think it's worth pointing out everything that we have learned about how the corporate higher ups basically were like, we have to find a way to stop people from taking full advantage. It was aimed directly and only at Brian Hall. Everyone suffered because of how Brian used this company in like summer of 2018 or whenever that was.
I was probably one actually reading this. Yes, because some of these very things happened to me, and I didn't even use it. I used a healthy amount, let's say, and I was reading some people in the comments talking about how much they went, and they use it even more, and it was incredible. I mean, if we weren't trying to hurt them, like
no,
like
you were doing what
it was
you were allowed to do based on what was stipulated by the service. You weren't scamming them.
Yeah, but so they lied to users saying that they discovered suspicious activity or potential fraud on their accounts, right? But then they would shut down those accounts, saying like, oh, there was suspicious activity on your account, we're shutting you down. They did this to over 75,000 users, but there was no suspicious activity. That was just a way to shut down 75,000 people. And then they had a ticket verification program for, it says 450,000 high volume users as a way to limit their usage. So this happened to me. What they did was, I remember being at my local movie theater, like, okay, dum-de-dum, I'm here, let's buy my ticket. And they're like, ooh, yeah, no, you know what? We're going to need you to take a picture of your ticket so we know it's you. I remember taking a picture of my face, holding my ticket, sending it to MoviePass, never getting a response, which now I've learned was a tactic. They're like, oh no. Like, this was a way to stop you from using it that evening. And then they would also, they had what they're, in quotes, the FTC called tripwires that would allow them to block users who are seeing more than 3 movies a month. It's crazy. It was crazy. So all of it's true. It's all true. And basically, I guess because of some Supreme Court ruling that happened back in April, it stripped the FTC of any power it had to get any restitution or monetary relief. So they weren't very happy about that. But the only penalty they can slap on MovieFilm is that if the operators...
MoviePass, not MovieFilm.
Did I say MovieFilm?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Well, I'm so used to it. I'm looking at the words MoviePass too. Damn. I did that before we started too, and you're like, hey.
Don't drag us into this.
No, but the only punishment that these people at MoviePass can really suffer is if they start up some other business, they can't make these same violations again, which is like, well
awesome.
done.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks a lot,
government, for doing nothing. That's great. Okay.
But I feel like we kind of had an idea about this, but it is official. It is officially confirmed. They were doing everything they could to prevent their users from doing the thing they were paying and signed up to do. So inventively, even.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I think the most apt metaphor which we used throughout the MoviePass journey was the gasoline scene from Zoolander. And that was you and the company, it turned out.
Yes, spraying gasoline on one another.
Just everybody's spraying gasoline everywhere else.
But they had a match in their hand, and I didn't know it.
That right there you go, exactly.
Yeah.
Now the sort of the adjunct to what MoviePass did is, in a weird way, I mean, they created a new business model for the theater chains, because every theater chain now has a MoviePass-esque subscription service.
Yeah, A-List, right? I believe is the AMC one, and I don't know what they do differently. It's probably not as unlimited.
Yes, so it's whatever, I think it's like $25 a month.
Mm-hmm. Which is more than double what MoviePass was.
Yes, and I think you can watch like 2 movies a week, I think.
Okay.
Right? So it's one of those things where if you go, for $25, you go to a movie once a week, you'll be in good shape.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So plus the difference with an AMC is that they can take the loss on the ticket prices, because they're either way that money is going to their pocket, and they're making money on the concessions and everything else.
Right.
So it makes a little more sense for it to be in-house versus this whatever MoviePass. I mean, it's ironic that they funded the movie Gotti, because it's like something John Gotti would do, right?
Right.
It was some weird mobster tactics.
Yeah.
So R.I.P. MoviePass. You will not be missed. You will not be missed.
No. Yeah, I guess it's like I got out of like a toxic relationship, but like I can't help but remember the good times. And my friends are like, "Come on, man."
You're like, MoviePass. If not for you, I would not have seen 3 Identical Strangers.
Right.
Or whatever you ended up saying.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, let's take a little break.
I totally. I was like, that feels so familiar. What was that? And then I was like, oh yeah, I would have never seen that in the theater if it hadn't been.
That was a MoviePass thing for you, wasn't it?
It was, and it was interesting, but it it made me go see more things than I probably would have otherwise. Yeah.
There we go.
Hilarious. What a pull. That was a good pull.
Let's take a short break. We'll come back, talk about the brand new Disney Plus series Loki. Okay, we are back, and so is Loki, Brian.
Yes, he is.
He was extremely dead. I was going to say he was extremely dead the last time we saw him. That's not true. He was extremely alive the last time we saw him, which was in Avengers Endgame.
Right. Reached for the Tesseract on the ground, saw an opportunity, took it, disappeared, and we knew they were going to do something with that, but we didn't know quite what at the time.
Now this is the thing about the Marvel universe, and it's you're either down or you're not. Everything leads to another thing, right? And you figure out like people who are anti-Marvel are always coming at it from there. Like, it's always setting up something else,
right? And
I'm like, well, yeah, if you're not down for that, obviously it's going to be frustrating. Mm-hmm. But I'm kind of like, I like the fact that, yes, they are setting up other stuff, but it's not like they don't let other stories end.
And I would even argue, I think it was pretty obvious at that point that it was probably going to set up some sort of series, but you could even argue if they never made a thing again, that's almost a fitting end or goodbye for Loki, Right.
I agree with that.
Like
yeah.
this trickster taking an opportunity, he disappears. He's going to continue to be that guy somewhere, and the adventure continues. Like it seemed like a funny, unique out for him.
Entirely in character for him
Exactly.
to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's, if I'm not mistaken, they announced the Loki series before Endgame came out.
Oh, okay.
And there was a question of like, what? Because he was dead, right? In Infinity War. And he had a great death.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was an effective death, and then when Endgame came out, I remember being like, oh, okay, I get it. It's going to be that guy.
Right.
Right. But regardless, as we speak about this, the first episode is up on Disney Plus. You have seen the first one.
I have.
I've seen the first two. So I'm in this relationship right now. I'm like Mobius because I know a little bit more than you. So I'm just going to talk like this for the rest of our conversation, Brian.
And you know what? And I'm going to pretend like it's not bothering me.
So this is the first of 6 episodes.
Okay.
This is going to be a 6-episode thing. So I'm a little worried that it might not be enough time, because I feel like Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think as we discussed, it could have benefited from a little bit more room for story.
Yeah. I'm sort of curious. I've only, like I say, only seen the first one, and I'm still not entirely sure what the series is going to be. Like what the sort of stretch is going to be. I mean, I kind of have an idea, but I will say I loved this. Like this.
Well, talk to me about that.
So it's interesting what each Marvel show has been. They've been wildly different, right? Where WandaVision was unlike anything they had done before, and it was this really wacky TV decades pastiche sort of thing. And that was interesting to watch. And then Falcon and Winter Soldier felt like a more intimate story, right, than you would maybe be allowed to do in the films, because they could stretch it out like that. And it was sort of the arc of Falcon accepting the mantle of Captain America, and that was interesting in a way. And then this becomes like, so I was like, okay, like I was like, I know I'm gonna like it enough to keep watching it, but I don't know if it's going to feel like anything that, like, oh, I haven't seen that, it's just going to be the wacky adventures of Loki or whatever. And then it becomes this crazy, almost like Brazil.
I was just going to say that. I was like, they dropped him into a Terry Gilliam movie.
Yeah. Like, and so him and, you got these office workers who are in control of time, and time cops, and Owen Wilson, who I just love. And this like sci-fi meets office setting kind of thing, but also with like getting into Loki and his kind of feelings.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, like halfway through,
the stuff.
I loved it so much. I was like, please don't miss. Like this feels really different and special, and is very specifically appealing to me, even down to they have sort of this future tech stuff, but it still involves like 16 millimeter film.
It's all like analog.
Yeah. It's like this weird, completely imaginative
very
hybrid
Gilliam.
Very
Gilliam-esque.
Yeah. And Owen Wilson is such a unique, interesting sort of character. I just love the way that, I don't know where it's going, but it seems like he is being slightly condescending to Loki, but also genuinely interested in him.
Yeah.
And just the whole, him having to take a ticket in line, and then the guy, like what happens to the guy who doesn't take a ticket. I was just laughing, and all the overhead lamps in the room.
I love it how at the start of that whole sequence, how he's asked like, are you a robot?
Yes,
like,
that was so funny.
He's like, no. He's like, are you sure? I guess. Like,
yeah.
And he's unsure if he's a robot.
And he's like, do most people not know whether or not they're a robot? And then eventually he's so scared of walking through the thing. Like, I mean, I don't think I'm a robot. Like, yeah, it just sort of, I'm running out of like things to compare it to, but I just love that weird sort of it's almost like mundane sort of government office sort of stuff, but with this weird, funny sci-fi twist because they're like time police
Yeah.
or something. And then throwing this overly cocky character who is being like literally sometimes like shoved onto his butt on the ground and being humbled a little bit.
You know what's interesting?
It's a perfect cocktail. That's just, I gotta say, I loved it.
A couple thoughts here. We start out right at the moment in Avengers Endgame when he disappears,
Mhm.
and I love how like he disappears, and then we have the Marvel logo, and instead of hearing the music, we hear the Avengers from Endgame who are like, "Where's Loki? Where did he go?" And you just hear their kind of like their voice get distant.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, well, that story, we're not following that story.
right.
We're going here. But here's the thing: a couple thoughts. He lands in the desert, right in the sand, and it's just like Tony Stark in Iron Man, in the first Iron Man. It's like this is the beginning of Loki's hero's journey.
I did not even put that comparison in my head. That's good.
And when he's in the time place, it's like Thor in Ragnarok.
Oh wow. Yeah.
He's being led through a thing. He's listening to like a voiceover explaining everything that's going on.
Yeah.
He's like he's forced to change out of his clothes. He's told. I mean, it's very, very similar.
That's interesting. I didn't notice that.
And the other thought is by the end of this, because my thought was, the prime Loki or whatever we're going to call him, he had a really like by the time he dies in Infinity War, we've gone on a real journey with that character.
Mm-hmm.
And my thought was like, it seems a shame to sort of sacrifice all of that to end up with the Loki who's more like the earlier version. And it's like the show addressed that.
Right.
By, he's like us. He's watching the Avengers movies on Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
And it's almost like, I mean, imagine that, right? Imagine being plucked out of your life and seeing how the rest of it will play out.
Mm-hmm.
How do you respond to that?
Mm-hmm.
Owen Wilson has that great line. He's like, "This is how it is. This is how it always is, again and again."
Mm-hmm.
You're locked into that. Well, that's his original life. But who is this guy?
Right.
What is he if he's not in, this main timeline? Like there's just something so interesting about that.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, that's what makes it. I feel like I haven't seen anything like this not only in this universe, but this is just a movie. If it was its own thing, I would be interested in.
Right.
Yeah, and so much comedy too with the sort of rigmarole of the Office. I loved with that robot that had like the smiley face on it and the the sort of like old, and then they have the sort of DNA movie from Jurassic Park explaining how time works.
Miss Multiverse, right?
Yeah. And I loved when they're like, "Are these all the words you've ever said in your life? Can you sign here?" And he's like, "What?" And then this paper like comes down to add what?
He's like, "Are you serious?" Another one. And this too.
And even the introduction of these weird tools or instruments that they have, right? Where if he runs toward them, they just have to push a button and put him back like 5 seconds.
Right.
It's so inventive. Is this from comics or what is this?
Yeah, well, for sure, the Time Variance Authority comes from the comics. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the character Mobius, who Owen Wilson plays, he in the comics he's actually modeled on a former writer and editor at Marvel named Mark Grunwald, who passed away in like the mid '90s. But even before then, the idea is the Time Variance Authority is just a bunch of people who all look like this one guy, and sort of at Marvel. Mark Grunwald was known as like the keeper of the continuity. Like he knew how everything fits together.
I see.
So playing like the guy in charge of the time variance, like it's sort of like a little meta thing,
That's fun.
But having Owen Wilson there, I mean that he's got the same mustache as in the comics, but they made it so that he's the only guy who looks like that. Mm-hmm. But what I said to you a couple days ago is I like there's sort of like it's like a buddy cop. Mm-hmm. Pairing between these two because you want to see them become buddies.
Yes,
like you don't want Loki to like Loki it up,
right?
Right?
And I was kind of wondering about that too. I mean, because we're only on episode 1, and he's such a, no pun intended, tricky character to. How do you focus on him and have him grow, but not be the guy we sort of like him to be? Sort of like we don't want him to hurt people, and I love that line he talks about hurting people.
Yeah.
And so it's like I don't know quite what you do for his arc and make it feel like we can still have him around, or he's completely changed, or like I don't know where this is all going, but I am super engaged with it.
Well, and my understanding is that this, unlike these other shows, they've said that they plan for this to continue and get a couple seasons out of it.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know if it would be specifically the TVA thing, but insofar as Loki, this version of Loki having a bit more of an extended arc, that's something that's in the cards.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but just episode 1 is easily one of my favorite Marvel things I've seen in a while.
It's definitely, and I think all these shows have been pretty solid, but I think as a pilot, very, very solid.
Yeah. And gosh darn it, Owen Wilson, just a welcome presence for me. I mean, I've loved him. I saw this, like, that snobby thing, but like I saw Bottle Rocket before Wes Anderson
which I saw because of you.
Yeah. And so that was I felt like one of the few people in the world that had seen that movie. And I was like, I love Owen Wilson. And when he appeared in Armageddon a couple years later, I was like, that's my guy, and so then of course he became Owen Wilson and everyone knew him, but like, I still have that affinity for him, I think. And so seeing him in here,
hey, Brian, thanks very much for being a fan,
But like, it's so weird to see him as like this salt and pepper guy also, right? But
right.
But he brings that very, very unique charm and personality that he has that only he can do to that character. I love when he's just like, oh, that scamp. Who else can do that?
What's funny is that Luke Wilson is one of the regulars on the Stargirl series.
Oh, good. I like him too.
Right. So we got one brother in the DC universe, one brother in the Marvel universe.
Oh, that's fun.
That's going to make Thanksgiving super awkward in the Wilson household, I have a feeling.
That's really fun.
But it's a good start. I guess there's not much more we can say. I don't want to say anything about what's coming up.
Yeah. I guess, I mean, we talked about some of the fun mechanics of it, but hopefully that people don't feel that too spoilery. But I don't know where it's all going, honestly. So I look forward to checking back in on this.
Well, by the time we record our next regular episode, we'll be halfway through this series.
Okay.
So there'll be a little bit more to say,
And it's interesting. This is dropping on Wednesdays when everything's been Friday so far. I was kind of curious what the thinking was.
I think part of it might be that Disney Plus is starting to drop more stuff. So maybe they want to explore, kind of like networks, like have a 5-day-a-week type of release pattern.
Sure.
So that not everything is getting overloaded at once,
Right. That makes sense.
Because you have to imagine there's going to come a point where they want more than one major franchise title dropping per week. So, for example, you got Marvel stuff at the same time as Star Wars.
Right.
And you don't want to overload the servers or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, Brian, Mighty Ducks drops on Fridays. So
I see.
although that season just ended, but
okay.
I hope it'll be back. It was a good show, Brian.
Yeah.
It's no Loki, admittedly.
Sure. But no, I remember you saying you liked it.
I enjoyed it quite a bit. I hope that comes back.
I've got one spoiler thing.
Okay.
I think it's worth bringing up.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do it.
Spoilers.
Okay, so this was kind of random, but I really loved it when they cut to him on the airplane.
Yes.
And he is supposed to be D.B. Cooper.
D.B. Cooper,
who is a real person. And
who weirdly looks like Tom Hiddleston. Like
yeah, he was apparently described as a white male, early 40s, kind of thing. It was like kind of weird, but the for those who don't know, and I did know this story. So when it was happening, I was like, wait, what? But yeah, in the 70s, early 70s, there was a guy bought a one-way ticket on a flight from Portland to Seattle. And exactly how it plays out on the show. He wrote a note saying he had a bomb, gave it to a flight attendant. She thought he was flirting, put it in her pocket, and he's like, actually, you should read that. It's like, I have a bomb. And set up to get another plane, negotiated the passengers from that plane for his own plane and a parachute, took $200,000, and then was not on the plane when it landed. And they did recover about $5,000+ in $20 bills that they had given him, which you see in the show when he is beamed back to Asgard, a bunch of the bills drop.
Right.
So I was like, that was so random. But I think they were trying to show the trickstery nature of him.
Yeah, he even said, like, I did that on a bet with Thor.
With Thor, yes. Yeah. Because a lot of the things they show him, it's really dark, right? Like him trying to subjugate people and hurting people. And I wonder if they kind of threw that in as like a little wink, if you know that story, but also like, yeah, he also did kind of nonsense stuff too.
I think it's a little bit of like Hobbs and Shaw syndrome, where like you have to take the character who has been objectively a villain.
Yes.
And sort of like soften his edges. That's why it's like, well, I don't like hurting people. You know, like
yeah, I did actually like that line.
No, I agree.
That totally worked.
I mean,
for me.
It works. It works because I mean, he is a beloved character in this universe at this point,
right?
So it makes sense that you have to sort of sand down some of that stuff,
right? And then him having genuine emotion at seeing the death of his mother and even his own death.
Yeah, I know that stuff really worked.
That was good
I
stuff.
really enjoyed that. Yeah.
So,
well, there we go. Good start to this show. Hopefully, they keep the momentum going.
Yep, agreed.
All right. Well, I think that's a good place to leave this conversation. And like I said, we'll be back soon with our commentary track for The Rocketeer.
Yes.
So that's exciting. That's coming up. And then, we'll be back in 2 weeks with our next regular show. Mm-hmm. So lots to discuss, lots going on. And let's see. Anything you want to hype up, Brian, while we got you?
Puppy Dog Pals episode still dropping on Disney Plus, and Disney Junior.
There we go. And as for me, look for my article coming up in the San Francisco Chronicle celebrating the 40th anniversary of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Very cool. I can't wait to read that.
Yeah. By the time you are hearing this, it should have dropped, or it will drop very shortly. So keep an eye out for that. As always, please, folks, send us your messages and various comments and likes and dislikes to moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit like on our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast, and message us there. As always, please go to Apple Podcasts, leave a review, leave a star rating. Every little bit helps. And we always want to hear your suggestions for future commentary tracks, so keep those coming as well. You can find me on Twitter at Zacky's Corner. That's ZAKIS Corner. That's also my website, justadded.com. And we'll catch you in just a couple days with our Rocketeer commentary track. So thanks, everybody, for listening.
Ooh, the zoo, yeah, it's brand new. Lincoln Park Zoo, we're missing you at the Lincoln Park Zoo. It's a world of fun, and it's brand new. Come see us, we'll see you at the zoo. Lincoln Park Zoo, what's brand new? Lincoln Park Zoo.